The night sky shimmered with restless stars, but none brighter than the burning city below. A sprawling empire of glass and steel known as Lumora, where neon lights masked ancient secrets buried under centuries of silence. In the heart of this living machine walked Aaric Solen, a young man whose name was whispered in fear and wonder, for he carried something no one else dared to hold: the Key of Aeons, a relic said to command the very threads of destiny. Few believed it existed. Fewer still survived knowing it did. Aaric himself had never asked for such a burden, yet destiny had carved him into the vessel of a story larger than any one life. It all began when he was only a child, when the old librarian of Valewood whispered a prophecy as the library collapsed in fire. One will walk with shadows but burn with light. One will tear down walls, yet build a bridge between worlds. One will face the eternal silence, and only in silence shall the truth awaken. Aaric had never forgotten those words, though for years he thought them meaningless. Until now. Because now, Lumora trembled with unseen tremors. The skies turned blood red at midnight, the rivers whispered voices, and towers that once stood unshaken cracked as if a hidden storm lived beneath their bones. Rumors spread of a figure cloaked in silver fire moving through alleys, seeking the key. A force beyond human, a being called the Harbinger of Stillness. No one knew where it came from, but where it walked, time itself faltered. Aaric knew it was coming for him. Still, destiny is never faced alone. By his side stood Solara Vane, a fearless woman with emerald eyes, whose voice carried both compassion and command. Once a warrior of the Night Guard, she had abandoned her vows to follow Aaric after witnessing his defiance against the High Council. Where Aaric was storm, Solara was calm. Where he doubted, she believed. And between them, though unspoken, burned a bond stronger than steel, forged in battles no one else would ever see. One evening, as golden twilight bled into the horizon, Solara confronted him atop the Sky Spire, the highest tower in Lumora. "You can't keep running, Aaric," she said, her voice breaking against the wind. "If you keep holding back, the Harbinger will consume not just you, but everything. The key wasn't given to you by chance. It chose you." "I never asked for it," Aaric muttered, gripping the pendant shaped like an endless spiral, its core glowing faintly. "I don't even know how it works." "You don't need to," Solara said, stepping closer. "You just need to trust it, and trust yourself." Before he could respond, the air turned sharp. The sky split open, spilling a roar that silenced the city. From the crack descended the Harbinger, tall, faceless, wrapped in shifting silver flames, each step warping reality. The people screamed and fled, but time slowed around them. Leaves froze in midair, droplets of rain hung suspended. Only Aaric and Solara moved freely. "It has found you," Solara whispered. The Harbinger's voice wasn't sound, but vibration, trembling directly inside Aaric's bones. "Keybearer, yield, or cease to exist." Aaric's hands trembled, but Solara's fingers locked around his wrist. "Don't listen. You are stronger than silence." And so it began, a chase that turned into legend. They ran through frozen streets, ducked into collapsing bridges, darted through forgotten tunnels beneath the city where murals of forgotten gods still glowed faintly. Yet no matter where they went, the Harbinger followed, bending reality behind them. Walls turned into liquid, floors dissolved into endless skies, and voices of long-dead kings echoed in the dark. But as the chase wore on, Aaric began to notice something. The key pulsed brighter each time he faced the Harbinger's presence. It wasn't running from it that gave the key power. It was facing it. So when they reached the ruins of Valewood, the very library that burned in his childhood, Aaric stopped. Solara gasped. "What are you doing?" "Ending this." He stepped forward as the Harbinger descended like a collapsing star. The relic burned in his chest, whispering words not in any language he knew, but carved into his soul. He raised the key high, and for a moment, the Harbinger hesitated. Then it lunged, silver fire blazing. What followed was not a battle of swords or fists, but of existence itself. Aaric's memories, his fears, his regrets, all surged out of him, clashing with the Harbinger's void. He saw flashes of his mother's face, the laughter of children he once knew, the loneliness that ate him for years. The Harbinger fed on silence, on emptiness, and it tried to consume every part of him that had ever felt alone. But Solara's voice pierced the darkness. "You are not alone," she cried, standing beside him, her hand gripping his. And for the first time, the key unlocked, not by will, not by command, but by connection. Light exploded, not blinding, but alive, threads of golden fire weaving through time itself. Aaric saw every choice he had ever made branching like rivers, and in each Solara was always there, in some form, guiding him toward this moment. The Harbinger shrieked, dissolving into fragments as the key rewove reality around them. The city lit up like a newborn sun, time rushing back into motion, people gasping awake from their frozen nightmare. And in the silence that followed, only one truth remained. The prophecy was fulfilled, but not as expected. Aaric hadn't defeated the Harbinger by force. He had defeated it by choosing connection over solitude, light over silence, love over fear. The key dimmed, its purpose complete, and dissolved into his heart. Aaric fell to his knees, exhausted. Solara caught him, tears streaking her face. "You did it," she whispered. "No," he murmured, his voice weak but steady. "We did." Above them, dawn broke. Not an ordinary dawn, but one painted in hues no eye had seen before, as if reality itself had been rewritten in gold. Lumora, once a city of shadows, now gleamed like a beacon. The world had changed, and so had they. But as the light faded, a final whisper echoed in Aaric's mind. Soft, warning, eternal. The key has only opened the first door. And though exhausted, Aaric smiled because he now understood. This was not the end. It was only the beginning.